Good afternoon, friends. Stephen Benoon here with Israeli News Live, and I've got a very special broadcast today. We're going to be talking about President Trump. He has been crowned as the Messiah, a Prince of Peace, by the Jewish Heritage Foundation there. But we're starting tonight at the latest in the morning our series. We had to change the series from what I was going to do because I may end up being a witness in one of the cases there on this Mena, Arkansas program I was going to do, but we're going to do the Kennedy assassination instead. I do have a special guest that I will be bringing on. The first interview, though, may be myself and some of the insights that I have on this as well, but that will begin tonight. And so you definitely want to see this, be a part of it. It's our series there on Patreon that we'll be doing. Some of this will go public as well a little bit later, but for those of you that want to be able to jump in there and get a quick peek on that, definitely come join patreon.com/Israeli News Live. I'd love to have you in there. Let's get right into our broadcast today. The Israel Heritage Foundation has awarded Donald Trump the crown of Jerusalem, the title of the Messiah, the Prince of Peace. This was a French article. The internet translated this to English. It says in here, in an article published on November 15, 2022, I asked the question whether we had reached the end of time as announced by the prophets. One of the first visible signs of this apocalypse is the drying up of the Euphrates in Western Asia. Indeed, images captured in the banks of the Euphrates revealed that a large part of this river has dried up. Arab commentators are categorical. The level of the flow of the Euphrates towards Syrian territory has recorded a record, the first in history, which suggests a major environmental and agricultural disaster in eastern Syria. Now, by the way, that's not because of so much on climatic issues as much as it is on Turkey cutting off that water supply to Syria. So I still feel like that a lot of these things that are being done are being staged intentionally to try to make it look like it is prophecy being fulfilled. And but this whole issue, though, about Trump and this Prince of Peace, crowning him as the Messiah, could very well play into a very dangerous thing that I wanted to share with you. And I want to go to that Trump coin there and just show you that. They depict Trump's image next to Cyrus's image. And of course, we know that Cyrus was the very king there that brought about the decree to build, he as well as Artaxerxes, Darius, they all played a pivotal part in this, of the building of the temple, the second temple. And those of you that recall, I actually did a message on this from the prophet Daniel. And because a lot of people don't even pay attention to what's really going on, and this could very well be fulfillment of Scripture. In Daniel 7:25, we read here, and he shall speak words against the Most High. Literally, in the Hebrew language, he speaks the words as if he has authority over the Most High, and shall wear out, and that's mentally wearing them down, the saints of the Most High, the Christians, wearing them down mentally by getting them to believe all this Cyrus Scofield doctrine that Israel is to build a third temple. And then it says, he shall think to change the season and the law. That's literally in Hebrew, zamin, which the King James translates that more accurately. The times, that's what it is. Zamin is times. That's right here. Let me just show you here on the screen for you. There it is in the dark blue, zamin. That's times. Vedat. Vedat comes from a Persian word, and that would be what the king of Persia or the king of modern day Iran said back then, that would be he would change the decree. So it's an Antichrist figure. Many scholars believe this is the Antichrist that will come along, that will think that he can change the timing of the decree. In other words, Artaxerxes, Cyrus, and Darius, specifically from the Cyrus scroll there, he determined that Israel was to return 2,500 years ago, build the second temple, build the second temple, and put back up Jerusalem, rebuild Jerusalem and the temple. Now, he may not have known it, but he was doing it because the true Messiah, Jesus Christ, was coming. Ishu, as I discovered also in the Hebrew language, that I believe his name should be called Ishu or Ishua, not Yeshua or Yahushua, but Ishu. That's, again, conjecture. That's just a little observation that I made of my own. I can't say that that's correct, but I find that fascinating, and it goes more in line with the Latin and the Greek Isa, which means he saves, rather than Yah saves, but he saves, because it directly speaks of the Son of God in that case. Now, as we look at this, though, this is where that Antichrist figure comes along, and of course the Antichrist figure has to be someone that the Jewish people believes is the Messiah. And now the Jewish Heritage Foundation is saying that Trump is being crowned the Prince of Peace. Now, I'm not saying that Trump is the Antichrist in what I'm sharing here with you, but what I am sharing with you is that I do believe he's going to be very pivotal in helping Israel build the third temple. So don't get that, I don't want to get that confused, because they've already made him look like he's Cyrus, given that decree to go forth. Because even though Cyrus gave the decree, the true Messiah, Jesus Christ, is the one that came about 500 years after it was built. So Trump being the one that gives a decree is much like that of Cyrus of old. Now, of course, the Jewish people believe that the Messiah will be pivotal in building the third temple, but it's only the Antichrist that has that pivotal role there. And so could he play that part? I don't really know the answer to that. I'm just wanting to share with you some very awkward things that I see happening right now in this article here that happened to pop up here. So let's take it down, though. Let's see. World Government Summit at New York City Hall 2017. It's going back in time there. Israel 365. We know that Trump was involved in all of this here. This here is where they did let's say the views continue. There's a sign.
Okay. Wait. So this is the mold.
Okay, this is the original mold of the second Cyrus Trump temple coin. And as you can see over here, let's see what we have. Okay, first of all, we have over here in Hebrew, Lemalot Shirim Shana, to fulfill 70 years. The original verse, to fulfill 70 years, is when the Jews went out to exile, to the Babylonian exile. They were there for 70 years. And after 70 years, King Cyrus said, God, the Lord of the world, gave me permission to let you, the Jews, come back to the land of Israel. And look what he said. And he charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem. That happened about 2,500 years ago. 70 years. For the state of Israel, something happened again. One of the biggest leaders of the world, again, President Donald Trump, and here we see the seal of America. He again recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, of the state of Israel, the people of Israel. And he also built a house in Jerusalem. But we don't want only the embassy. We hope, just as King Cyrus pushed us, the Jewish people, to rebuild the temple, we hope all the 70 nations and President Donald Trump, after he recognized Jerusalem as the spiritual, holy capital of the land of Israel, of the state of Israel, he will help us, the Jewish people, rebuild the third temple.
And there you have it right there. So this is the reason why the Israel Heritage Foundation awarded Donald Trump the crown of Jerusalem. It says here on Monday, July the 10th, 2023, the Heritage Foundation honored the 45th President of the United States, now the 47th President, Trump, National Golf Club Bedminster in Bedminster, New Jersey, with the Keter Yerushalayim Award. The IHF, whose honorary chairman is Jerry Awatsky, was attending by the 150 Orthodox Jews. The event was hosted by the IHF Executive Vice President Dr. Joseph Frager, who has been a courageous and dedicated fighter for the Jewish state of Israel for nearly 50 years, and Executive Director Rabbi David Katz, a prominent Jewish community activist. We are deeply grateful to this person, the rabbi said, gesturing to Trump to his right. This is a man who cares not just about himself, but about the entire world, Katz said. Especially from the people of Israel and the Jews of America, the rabbi extended the blessing from Israel, his wishes for a long life, health, and peace to the president, his family, and all his friends. So they awarded him the Prince of Peace Award, crowning him this honor that they bestowed upon him. And, so it's very awkward that we're seeing and hearing about this at this point, because that lets you know we are moving certainly into a biblical time frame like never could have been imagined before. And I also find interesting, too, that during the presidency of Biden, things were just kind of a little tipsy-turvy, things like that. I think they did that intentionally as well. I believe they brought Biden in because if you remember, even though Cyrus had given the decree and the prophets had returned, even, what was it? It was, I believe it was, I can't recall now, Ezra and maybe it was Haggai, and they were there in Jerusalem, along with, of course, the different nobles that had went there. And then finally they said, look, it is thus saith the Lord that this temple is to be built. And it's when the prophets spoke in the name of the Lord that they began to build the temple. But yet they were there, they were examining everything for a couple of years there, or 3 years, whatever the case was, and never did anything. So I think this is one reason why they put Biden in office, was to delay that, to make it look like Trump comes back and now the decree will go forth. So there's a lot of biblical insight into this, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of this. Hey, also in closing, let me share this here. This was a very interesting, by the way, I want to thank Charles for sending me that article there about the Messiah. Another brother, Ogna, sent me, let me just real quick check to see what we got here. That was Ingo, Brother Ingo from, I think Brother Ingo's in Germany, sent me this here. The UK military is involved, and has been from almost day one, inside of Israel in the Gaza Strip.
First of all, I think we need to change the language about British
taking out the Palestinian people. Horrible genocide. Let's listen in just for a moment.
Involvement in the Gaza genocide. We are not complicit, we're participants. And we've been participants from the start. This is a tripartite genocide. It's US, UK, Israel. And it began basically immediately. So after October 7th, when the genocide began in earnest, I started looking at flights that were going from the UK base on Cyprus, which I'll talk about a bit more later. And I noticed that there were daily flights going of military planes, military transport planes. So they're called C-17s and A-400s. They're huge vehicles that can carry over 100 personnel, weapons, and other military equipment. And I started asking questions of the Ministry of Defense. And then some MPs started asking questions, and we were given no information about what those flights were for. Yeah. And then I started doing more and more stories, and they had to respond. And this was the dynamic that developed throughout the whole genocide, in that I would find information myself, which would push the government to have to release more. But anyway, they always said, oh, well, it's medical supplies and moving ministers to Israel. And you're sort of thinking, why do you need dozens of military flights to Israel, military transport flights, if you're just transporting a few ministers? There were only a few ministers that had gone at that point, or medical supplies. Didn't make any sense. Still doesn't. We still don't know really what were on those flights, and we have no press that's pushing the government to do that.
you're not going to have the press pushing the government, because if Israel is controlling the press in both the United States and the UK, then we're not going to see it. These were those transport planes that he was talking about from Cyprus, which is not very far, based there in Cyprus, over to Israel. So, let's listen to this one other little short clip there, and then we'll wrap it up here.
They didn't say where they were going from. They didn't say how long they were in the air. And they didn't say what they were doing with the intelligence or what departments of the Israeli regime they were sharing it with. But I, again, independently found how many flights were going, and it was often 2 times a day. And these are flights that are going in the air for 6 hours over Gaza, collecting intelligence the whole time, and then sharing it with the Israelis, and we don't know how that's being shared. In December, the government announced...
There you go there. So, and we have seen those different flight pattern footages and stuff that have been shared out there. So it's just really, really disturbing to see. And I've heard as high as 250,000 Palestinians have been killed since then, that this quote-unquote official number is not the real official number of Palestinians. And I think it's 60 to 70% are women and children that are being killed during this. So it is truly a genocide of mass, momentous proportions. Definitely share this video, if you would, with everyone. And don't forget our series here that we're going to start this evening here on the Kennedy assassination. And I think you're going to find that very interesting. They show this type of trajectory on Wikipedia. They're trying to make it look like, Oswald was the one that shot the president, but in fact, it was not Oswald that shot him. And I actually worked with, in fact, one of the men that were on the Warren Commission. And I knew that the Warren Commission people were put there to help protect the assassins, so that they came up with this fake Warren Commission to be sure that no one knew about what was really going on. So patreon.com/Israeli News Live. Get over there, get subscribed into that channel there, because December 1st, everything changes. It will be higher. And but the people that are existing will be able to stay at the same, as far as what I understand, if I can do that correctly. So I'd love to have you as part of our team there. God bless you and have a great day.